Ain't easy, but we make it easier, hopefully. Hey, Positeers, we are back yet again here for episode 7, Athletes Resurgence, from Sidelines to Stardom, for season 1 of our podcast, Health Over Wealth. Now, for our guest Positeers, we have Lax Lover, the flame on the football field, academic weapon, the Baptiste Baller. Our guest today, Brian Baptiste.
Hello, thank you for inviting me today. I'm excited to be on this podcast, and that was a lot of excitement too, so let's get that started too.
Yeah, so why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? What sports do you play? What classes do you take at school? What school do you go to? Just a little baseline.
Yeah, so as you said before, I play lacrosse, basketball, and football. I used to play basketball for our school, and a lot of classes, most of the classes I take are like intensified or AP level. So it's very struggling to take those classes while balancing the sports that I play. Yeah, so what else would you like to?
Yeah, so have you ever had any injuries in sports? What positions do you play? I mean, it seems like you got a lot going on, a lot to balance.
Yeah, so for like injuries, recently I tweaked my hamstring. That was one setback that I had at the beginning of the lacrosse season this spring. And last spring too, I had appendicitis, which was horrible for my lacrosse season because it destroyed and took me out for almost a month. So yeah.
What is appendicitis and how did it happen?
So yeah, appendicitis was an inflammation in my appendix, which is basically when your appendix becomes infected and then it starts trying to fight it off and becomes inflamed, and it can cause pain, a pain sensation in your abdomen area, which I felt a lot. And it was just during my practices, I would feel it. During my lacrosse practices, I would feel it, and it feel like I was I got hit in the stomach or or in that lower area. I didn't really notice it until a while, and it got bad, and I couldn't eat for a couple of days, and we had to go check it out.
So does it kind of did it just happen to you all day, or was it just you move and then there'd just be a sharp pain?
So it was more if I moved, if I try to do some jumping or stretching in some motions, it would hurt, and I could feel that sharp pain. It wasn't really every single day. I couldn't feel it the whole entire day, but it was mostly sharp initially. But then it got on to be worse.
Do you know what usually causes appendicitis? The basic.
So most of the time, it's just you got a bug in your stomach, a stomach bug. It's just an infection. There's nothing you could do about it. It could be caused by if you get hit in the stomach hard enough, it could cause a tear in your abdomen or appendix, and then that's how you get an infection. But most of the time, it's the luck of the draw. You get unlucky and you have appendicitis.
So can you bring us through the sequence of your diagnosis, and was there a build-up for your pain? It started getting worse and worse, or it just happened one day?
Yeah, so it started to get worse and worse. Initially, as I said before, it was just sharp pain whenever I moved. But then it got to the point where when I was eating food, it felt like I was full already, and I couldn't eat food, and my stomach was just in pain. I would have to lay down, and it got to that point.
So you went through school with this?
I went through school with this, but then it was right before spring break. So a couple of days of going through school, and then it was spring break, and I still had the pain. So it got to the point where I couldn't eat my favorite meal. So
what's your favorite meal?
It's hamburgers. My mom makes it. It's amazing. It's pork plus beef into this little hamburger patty, and usually I have rice on the side. But I couldn't eat it at all. So,
oh my gosh.
So yeah. So
you can't eat that. What is life like? Oh my gosh.
It was struggling. It made me feel really, really just destroyed that I couldn't eat anything. And
what did you think it was?
I thought it was a stomach bug or something, and my parents thought usually you're just fake, you don't want to go to school, right?
Oh, dang.
So it had to go until that point where, I couldn't eat my favorite meal to like go to the doctor.
Okay, that's when
That's when they
parents
said,
knew.
the time is now. We have to go check it out.
Did you ever go to like the school athletic trainers, or like how did you go through lacrosse practice or the school day, or was that all on spring break?
So yeah, it was right before spring break, so like 2 days right before spring break, and I just went through like regular motions, and because it was at that point where it wasn't feeling like when I was only moving or like running around, I was like, okay, let me just like keep playing with it. It's not that bad. It's only when I'm moving, so I'll just toughen it out. And then
So you were playing lacrosse. You were playing through appendicitis.
yeah, but luckily the games that we had during that time was like pretty easy games. We played like Mount Vernon. It was
Dang,
pretty
Shayla Mount Vernon.
yeah. I mean, we don't play them this year, so no worries.
I don't think we have any Mount Vernon listeners, but if we do, the truth's coming out, y'all.
Yeah, so yeah, it was during the spring break, like Monday, or I forgot exactly, but Monday, Tuesday. That's when we went to the doctor, and they just like did some couple of tests where they like applied pressure in that like lower left abdomen area where your appendix is to see if it was like inflamed. Yep, obviously I felt the pain there, like more sharp than ever. And so then we went to the emergency room because we went to our primary care. Yeah.
So what was your initial reaction?
I was just like, let's get this. Like, I don't know what's happening. Like, okay, now they said like it's appendicitis. Like, I don't even know what appendicitis is. Like, hopefully this goes away quickly. I just want this pain to end. And emergency room was like nervous because like it was my first time at the emergency room, and my dad and myself were unfamiliar with the situation, like and how to go to the emergency room.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was at the emergency room, they like it was my first time also getting my blood drawn out too. So,
oh, they drew your blood.
yeah, like to because to get like like the data,
Like to see if it was like infected.
or no, just to get like your like I use it for tests and other.
Okay. I'm not a STEM guy, so
Yeah.
yeah. No, but I got you. That makes sense.
Yeah. So once they got that out, it was like one of my biggest fears of drawing blood. So luckily that was gone. It still is a fear of mine, but like I had to like just it was better than the actual pain of stomach of my appendicitis. So yeah. And after that, like they realized they did some scans and realized okay, it's blown up. Like your appendix is just gone. Not gone, but blown up.
So there's like more extreme versions of appendicitis.
Yeah.
And you had it like pretty extreme.
Yeah. So the appendicitis that I had was like it was fully blown up. It could be the minor occasions or like the earlier if you catch it earlier. It's just like an inflammation, like a small inflammation. But mine was fully like it got so infected that it like blew up basically in your stomach.
Wow.
So yeah, there was so much like you could say like debris basically in my stomach, and it was causing that pain because it was just
under the 6-pack.
That was true. I was in like the best condition, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. So this was like towards the start of varsity lacrosse season.
It was in the middle part. So like about when we're having like our in thick of it.
And was this was your first year on varsity lacrosse? You had JV the year before?
Yeah, so this was my first year on varsity lacrosse, and I really never played lacrosse other than my freshman year of high school. And I
played lacrosse with Brian freshman year. He was a demon.
Just hustling. That was my
hustling.
Yeah, just hustling, playing hard, So yeah.
So what happened that week when you got appendicitis? Did they give you medications? Did they give you like treatment process, told you couldn't exercise, and like how did that affect your life and your athletic season, your anxiety about anything?
So when I got to the ER and then after the initial checkup, they gave me like pain medication to subdue the pain in the stomach area, and then I got admitted to the hospital, and that's when it was like serious, and they just gave me antibiotics, and it was just laying down on the bed with pain medication and antibiotics. And that was pretty much the whole entire experience of being at the hospital, just 3 days of that.
Oh, wow. So you were bedridden for 3 days.
They initially wanted to do like surgery if the CT scan proved that it wasn't like that, like clouded there, like
If it wasn't blown up.
yeah, if it wasn't blown up, they were gonna do like surgery there because they had like clear vision of the appendix. But because it was so crowded with all the debris, I guess you could say, from the infection, they decided to just give me antibiotics to like fight off that infection, and then with that they could come back later. I could come back later and get my appendicitis surgery later.
And yeah, get the surgery. So did you, when they gave you the diagnosis of appendicitis, did you know that like your lacrosse season was over, or you like thought you would have a quick recovery?
I thought I would have a quick I had a slight chance of coming back. Like I thought it was a quick recovery, but in actuality, it was just like I lost so much weight from not eating, from the initial part of just not eating because my appendicitis was just like.
How long were you not eating before you knew it was like appendicitis?
So it was like a couple of days of just going off of like like small snacks like granola bars or like just like junk food, like just small snacks because I was just like,
oh wow,
I couldn't really push myself to eat anything outside of like some big meal or outside of some small snack. So
2 days.
Yeah.
And as an athlete, I mean, you're burning so much calories. In a high school, I mean,
yeah.
Wow.
So it got bad. I think I lost at least 10 pounds. Like it was pretty heavy on me. So
setback in the weight room.
Yeah. So I was progressing, but then I got sent back to the start.
After you got out of the hospital, pre-surgery, just keep bringing us through this because this is good stuff.
Yeah. So after my 3 days at the hospital, after they gave me antibiotics, they gave me another set of antibiotics to take home to also combat, to continue fighting the infection there, and just to make sure when I come back for the surgery, it's clear for the surgery to happen. So yeah, it was pretty much just like, slowly going back in. It was like just like a regular injury where you're just like you're going slow and then you're speeding up and you're playing more intensely over a couple practices and throughout.
Okay, wait. So after surgery, when you had antibiotics, pre-surgery, you went back to practice?
No, so my surgery was later on in the summer. So
oh, okay.
Because of it was
Oh, it takes a while for the
takes a while for the debris to go away.
Did you went back to like no contact practice or like simple weightlifting? How long after?
So yeah, it was like the end of spring break. So as soon as spring break ended, like I remember like basically the Tuesday of spring break, I came back to like school and lacrosse full time basically, and that's when I
Tuesday after spring break.
Yeah. So because
full time.
Not full time. Like I mean like you go to school and then you go to practice.
And were you eating
Yeah, I was eating healthily. Like they also provided meals at the hospital too, so I was like eating back to my normal.
What were the meals like? Were they good
at the hospital?
What were they?
Yeah, well, they were like your regular like hotel breakfast, you could say. Like you could have your well, of course the meals were free because you're at the hospital, but they were just like your regular. You order on a menu, room service, and then like.
Ooh. After like a week, you were back at school and back to eating. Were you full contact back into lacrosse all the way?
No.
Like what was your how'd you get back into sports in school? Bring us through that.
So yeah, it was it was like, as I said before, like not intense, like getting back to from any other injury basically. So you're just slowly working your way up and trying to develop your skills back and your muscles and your conditioning basically to the sport. So yeah, it was just running around the track or just working with the team passing on the sideline, no helmet, no contact, just like trying to get back into that physical shape of being able to play. But because it wasn't really like a physical injury, I didn't have to work any like part of the body, just like get conditioned back to the sport.
And were you able to like go back to the weight room?
Well, it was during lacrosse season, so I didn't really go to the weight room.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it wasn't. There was no surgery yet, so it wasn't like detrimental on my like I couldn't lift. I could still lift because
Mm-hmm.
there was no surgery yet. But yeah, later on, once I had the surgery, I couldn't lift for like a whole month, and that affected me too. But I could like move around still. So
Like calisthenics or no?
not calisthenics,
Just
but
like light walking,
light
movement?
walking, moving. Yeah, nothing intense after the surgery though, which was
So you went through lacrosse season. You were like, did you play the rest of that lacrosse season or no?
yeah. So once I got back to my like at least somewhat playable condition, I went back to playing. But it was like obviously I was different. I felt different,
Mm-hmm.
weaker. Like like I couldn't put or like check as much or check push the guy as far or like check or I like I got beat a lot or something. But like I still played to my best
Mm-hmm.
ability at that time. So yeah, it's like difficult with that. But and it's like any setback. It really just like it's not about how you like got set back. It's really just how you come back from that. So,
Minor setback, major comeback.
mm,
No, but you're saying it so
Yeah.
humbly. It's very impressive. You went through a hard time. You pushed through it.
yeah.
So after lacrosse season ended, is that when you were starting to like go into surgery?
Yeah. So after like lacrosse season ended and like school was basically coming to a close, like around June, that's when I had the surgery, and it was like this laparoscopic, meaning like they went through many tiny holes through your abdomen to perform the surgery. So with that benefit, it allowed me to return back to like athletics way quicker than regular surgery would be, like where you open a big hole. So with that, I got back to like athletics and like weightlifting within 1 month, which was when football conditioning
Mm-hmm.
summer camp happened in August. So I missed the whole entire like summer conditioning in July because of that surgery. So when I did the summer camp, I was way out of like conditioning compared to all my peers because they already had the July summer camp, and many of the coaches highly recommend, one would say, to be at the summer conditioning during July. So it really didn't help my like case on being like a starter or like being ranked highly among the coaches during that summer.
So did you like? Would you say you just started pushing yourself as hard as you could, or did you have to like take it easy after the surgery? It was after that month.
So like in the beginning of that summer camp, I tried pushing myself, but there was obvious like
Yeah.
I
mean, your body has limits.
yeah, so like I felt really just destroyed on the first day and a couple of days after that. But once we got into that easier stage, I guess after tryouts, then it was pretty.
Did you make varsity?
I think, well, because I was a junior, so it's like I was a two-netter, so they didn't really expect me to do well enough to stay on varsity, but they knew I had some talent, so they kept me on like varsity plus junior varsity. So yeah, that was my first time on varsity for football, and it was pretty much like looking grim because I didn't really have a spot for me. I didn't know what position I was going to play. I was like basically the same weight I was last year, and I didn't
Because of like the injury setback?
Yeah, so I didn't gain any weight or like muscle to like
Mm-hmm.
to improve my like competition on the team.
So what ended up happening with your whole football season? Bring us through that.
Yeah, so most of the time it was just like during the like tryouts. After the tryouts, it was just getting the team into that like knowing what to do and
Mm-hmm.
plays and just
And so through all this, you were able. So I understand that this is post more than a month after the surgery.
Mm-hmm.
You were allowed to like try and push your body as much as you can.
yeah, because at that time there weren't really any fears of like causing a tear or like another a rupture from the surgery because it was enough time for it to
Mhm.
repair, and then they gave me like the green light to push myself as much as I wanted to. So yeah, I pushed myself as much as I wanted to during that summer.
Yeah, I mean, I assume you can't do too much lifting during the football season because you have your games.
Yeah. So
And this is also the start of junior year, right? You have a lot of hard classes.
yeah, so that's true. So, but it was August still. So like, it was.
Oh yeah, because it's like
Mhm.
2.5 months of conditioning.
Yeah. So it was like 2 weeks before the school started. So like, I had enough time to like get conditioned and like just focus on football during that time. and then it ended up being, I have to focus on football and school.
So bring us through your experience as an athlete, but also as a student through that football season.
Yeah. So thankfully, it's the start of school, so like every class is very simple. Just trying to do like their teacher syllabus done, learning what the class is going to teach, and usually at the end of the football season, that's when it gets complicated because football is really a commitment. You work after school, you practice after school for like 2 hours, and then you have film for like an hour, or
film for an hour.
Yeah, of like studying the other next team or reviewing what we've done.
Oh wow! So that's like 3 hours after school.
Yeah, but only like on Mondays and like Thursdays, or not Thursdays, but like days before
games.
So you still have like 2 days where you didn't have the 3 hour practice, but like 2 hours.
Yeah. Were you trying to, or like in communication with like doctors, athletic trainers about trying to do anything extra, or was that not really an option because you had to like have your body ready for football season, like doing extra weightlifting to try and?
No, so I didn't really, because like during the football season, you're not really advised to like lift heavy because like you'll tear something or you just destroy your football season. And it's not really, you're ready moving, you're ready like weightlifting basically by like doing the drill.
Yeah.
So like you don't really need to go at an excess of like, pushing yourself. But there are some times after like a practice or like when it's raining, we'll go to the weight room instead and then do that.
Like what happened with that football season? You just kept, was it a good season for you, even though you said you felt weaker?
So yeah, our second scrimmage against Fairfax, I was obviously still on like the second line. Like I was like the backup.
For varsity?
For varsity, yeah. I was like backup.
JV starter.
Yeah, JV starter, backup for varsity, and the season hasn't started yet really.
Mm-hmm.
So it's only varsity scrimmages. And unfortunately, the starting safety for our team at that time got injured, which gave me the opportunity to play.
Mm-hmm.
And during that scrimmage, I showed up and showed.
You cooked?
I could play. I had this amazing tackle on their running back and absolutely flattened him.
Oh, shoot.
And yeah, that really showed the coaches that I meant business. And I
Baptista's balling.
Balling. And I was like, it made the coaches look highly of me and gave me an opportunity to show and continue playing while the starting safety was injured.
And when he came back, were you still a starter? Or?
Yeah. So they
moved some things around.
They moved some things around. They put him at outside linebacker, and it looked like he played more effectively outside linebacker. So they kept me at strong safety, and that kept working out. And luckily I got my position there, and I had an amazing season. I would say that exceeded my expectations and really showed that I could be an athlete on the field.
Yeah, and despite coming back weaker than you would have been because of your injury.
Mm-hmm.
That's impressive. So was that tackle, was that kind of the moment you were like, I knew I can do this. I persevered through this, and now this is the spot, and it's mine.
Well, that tackle gave me confidence of showing that I can play on the varsity level or at least on par with it. I could compete with the varsity players, and I should be given an opportunity to always compete with them, and that it's not all I have to do is believe in myself. And really, if I fear being on the field, then I won't be on the field. So I had to be confident on the field and just remember my role as the safety, and not really make a mistake on the field if I can.
Do you feel like because of your injury, any of your habits, any ways you listen to your body, your dieting? Obviously, I assume your weightlifting post football season, get back into it, had to change. I guess they give you kind of a break after the football season. But what did it change for you? What did you learn? So
yeah, after dieting, or after when I was basically starving myself because of my body was just denying any food I could eat, it made me realize I'm still because I'm young, I should just eat as much as I can, but healthily as I can. So I shouldn't try to explicitly starve myself or just cut food out, but I should probably just try to find ways to, with my active lifestyle, try to find ways to eat healthily.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and do you feel like because of your injury, like you have a different mindset, or you're more driven because you know you're gonna have to work harder because you had that setback, or you know that you're kind of like if you made it through that, you can do anything. It's just working harder.
Well, yeah, it obviously showed that like if you push yourself, you can probably like, and you're given an opportunity and you push yourself to work through that opportunity and excel when you're given the chance, you'll obviously you'll do well, and you'll probably find more opportunities to show that you can exceed and succeed too. So it really gave me the confidence of just like, pushing yourself to limits and trying new things and really not fearing failure, because at that point, failure is like doing nothing, the same as nothing.
Mm-hmm. So can you bring us through that post-football season transition? So you're training, and I guess I remember from season 6 with Scotty and Aiden, they said that like you get like that's the only time you get time off from like football training and stuff is right after football.
Yeah. So there's like this dead space between football and like the winter sports, and that's when like usually like you get to the football players can organize a plan to continue their weightlifting and like exercising throughout the off season, and that's when football players can just find ways to be healthy during that time.
Yeah. So can you bring us through your journey from post-football season all the way to right now?
Yeah. So right after football, that's when winter sports start, and I was thinking of playing basketball, but then I realized,
I mean, so let's give some background.
Yeah.
Brian, freshman and JV star, very physical guy. Like he said, hustle. But he's a talented basketball player too. I was a practice player in freshman. Great player, great attitude, great skills.
Yeah.
So did you like not want to play basketball, or you want to focus on football?
Yeah, so I wanted to focus on football because I realized like in basketball, most of it requires on like height really. So I wasn't really gifted like the height of like the position that I played. Like I played the power forward, but I wasn't really exceptionally tall, so I couldn't really compete on the same level. And in basketball, it's just really unfair if you're shorter than everybody else.
Because you have the physicality, but not the height.
Yeah, and like the effort can be shown, but it's harder to do that when like everybody is like a foot taller than you. It feels like. So yeah, I just focused on football, and I decided to go with the weightlifting plan and just see how that went for the off season between lacrosse and football. So I did that instead, and that helped me, gain muscle mass and weight. From my injury.
Yeah.
Or illness.
And so during that, I mean, that's like 3 months of straight weightlifting, right? From end of football season to start of lacrosse season?
Yeah, 2 months, but it gets interrupted by like Christmas break and.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you don't take a break. I hope of a break.
I mean, I'm guilty of that, I guess. I do take some breaks, but.
Well, I mean, like obviously, like take a break, like not doing as much weightlifting during winter break, but like I assume you did some stuff.
Yeah, like I would exercise, like outside, just doing my own like little exercise.
Like calisthenics or
cardio. So like jump rope or like
big cardio guy.
The bikes, the stationary bikes. I love doing that. That was really my thing during the off season between lacrosse and football.
Sure.
So that was my thing. And
so how did you feel coming to the lacrosse season? Were you nervous? Because obviously last lacrosse season you had an injury. I mean, and that's this lacrosse season right now when we're recording this.
Yeah.
2024 spring lacrosse season. Washington Liberty, varsity star Brian Baptiste. Were you nervous? What was your mindset? Were you going to do anything different? Were you feeling? I assume you were like very like you were strong and big now after a lot of weightlifting time. Yeah. So I was, obviously nervous because lacrosse is not like I'm not really familiar with lacrosse, and it was my like third year playing lacrosse. So I was kind of nervous on how I would perform and how like the rest would look like because I'm not familiar with lacrosse that well. So yeah, there was some nervousness, and also I was the oldest on the team before the senior joined the team. So yeah, I was like, there was no seniors.
There was gonna be no seniors until this other senior joined the team, like on like the third trial basically. And that's how
Wow. So was it a lot of like talented young players?
Yeah, so we have a lot of talented young players right now, like freshmen and sophomores that are on the team for defense. Yeah.
So were there people who were seniors who had played lacrosse in class and they just quit? Or?
No, there's seniors. I mean, like for defense only. There weren't any seniors in the.
Oh, because you play defense.
Yeah, defense. But there on offense there were.
Oh, okay. You're kind of divided up like the team into like different sections. I got you. Mm-hmm. So you thought you were kind of going to be like a leader on defense, or you were. You are.
Yeah, So I'm still going to be a leader. Like, I still have to be a leader in that. Like, I'm no longer in that like first year like rookie year of like varsity lacrosse. So I can't just be a follower. I have to like at least show leadership qualities. So yeah, that was that made me a little bit nervous too. And another thing was right before the lacrosse season, I was like playing flag football with my friends and like prepping for this flag football thing.
Wait, was it Scotty and Aiden's team?
Yeah, Scotty and Aiden's
Tommy
team.
Joyce on that team?
Tommy Joyce was also on that team.
Tommy Joyce is my friend, Brian's friend too.
Yeah.
I know about the flag football team because I was texting Tommy the other day, so it's funny it came up.
Yeah.
Grayson Haney, the coach?
Yes, Grayson is the coach. Yeah. So yeah, we were like doing these like drills, I guess, and then we did this one drill.
Wait, you guys were okay. Wait, so is there actually an adult coach or no? Like it's like Grayson.
Well, I'm not part of the team anymore because like
lacrosse season.
Yeah, because lacrosse season.
But
also,
were you playing those games?
I was like doing those like little practices on Sunday. Yeah. But the first practice I was there, I got injured.
Oh my gosh!
From like
and a rec flag football practice.
Yeah. But like
before lacrosse season.
Yeah, because I was like I really never really got like physically injured, like I tore or like sprained my ankle or something like serious that just went right. Yeah, like I didn't really believe I could get like injured.
You thought you were bulletproof.
I thought I was like bulletproof. Like after that illness, like I'm fine now.
Yeah, I mean your muscles look bulletproof. I don't know about that.
Yeah, but
wait, did you warm up? Before you got in?
Yeah, we did a couple warm-ups. We did like not really stretching, but just warm-ups.
Oh, jeez.
And it was a cold day, so
maybe you should have warmed up.
Yeah, when we did sprints, I just absolutely tore my like hamstring. And
you guys were
like not.
So this is like.
Popped it, yeah.
Is this like a serious team or is it kind of just like friends joking around?
Just the friends joking around.
So at practice, you're doing sprints. Mm-hmm. That is impressive, actually. Because I feel like if people are like doing like a joke rec basketball or rec flag football, then they might just play around.
Yeah.
But you guys were doing sprints.
Yeah. So in the middle of the sprint, I pulled not pulled, but like a little bit like tweaked my hamstring, and it just felt so awkward running, and I thought it was like a small problem, but like it ended up being a bigger deal. And the first day of tryouts for lacrosse, I just couldn't run. I couldn't run.
Did you go to the doctor or anything, or you were kind of just like?
I didn't go to the doctor, but I did go to the trainers because I knew it was somewhat serious, but not like full blown. Like I can't walk anymore. I knew that it's like I can't run, and I'm having struggle like like turning or like being shifty at least. So yeah, I noticed that was like a problem. So I went to the trainers and I talked to the coaches about.
Shout out to Mike and Tyler.
Mike and Tyler, yes, thank you for that. Yeah, that's actually they helped me a lot too with recovery, and I just went to them not instead of practices, but before practices, I would go to them and do some workouts and help repair my hamstring. And
so was it like a tear or strain or?
I think it was a strain. I didn't really go to the doctor to figure out what exactly it was, but it felt like a strain. It wasn't really like a tear or something serious like that, but it felt like a strain. So it was just a couple workouts to strengthen the hamstring and the muscles around it to, help make sure that it won't happen again and it'll be back to normal and at least working condition. Yeah.
So what happened? You said you went to the trials the first day. What happened?
So like for tryouts, usually most for like every single sport, there's just a couple of like sprints or like running around at the end to like make sure
conditioning test you out. Yeah,
the kids are like able to run with stay fit or are in condition and are willing to put in the effort to be conditioned. So yeah, we were doing that and I just couldn't keep up. Like it was obviously my
was it hurting?
Yeah, my leg was hurting. My right leg was hurting, and then my other leg cramped up.
Oh, jeez.
Because I think of the poor running form, but like, yeah, I just started.
Did you warm up?
Yeah, it was warm up. It was like at the end of practice.
Okay, good.
So yeah,
That was the problem. Did you feel like you were more inclined to speak up and more aware of your body because of your past injury, or you were kind of just pushing through this again?
I was pushing through this again because
Jeez.
it was just another.
Your toughness is too much.
I mean,
Toxic masculinity kicking in here.
or
do you think it is? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess so. It's like that expectation that I feel like it's more like a kid thing. Like you're a young kid,
I feel like if you're doing all these sports and like you're having all this stuff going on, I mean, it's impressive that you push through this stuff. But if you're injured, if you're hurt, talk to your coach, talk to the trainer.
Yeah. So yeah, but for me, it was more like just like I'm a young kid. Like no way I'm like really injured. Like for me, it was also like I never really got injured that much. So it was like, how did I get injured? Like no way. And it was more like, okay. Then I came to the realization like after doing the sprints, like I'm actually injured. There's no way around it. I have to come through. Like so, I talked to the coaches, talked to the trainer, and got through that process.
So bring us through that process.
So yeah, that process was just so I was going to like the trainers after school and doing those exercises and just working out that hamstring.
Were you still going to practice after?
Yeah, so I'd go to practice. Like practices were later at the night because it was the beginning of the season.
Yeah, but you weren't doing sprinting, or you were? Or?
No, I wasn't doing really sprinting. I was just doing my like own exercises, like walking, I don't know how to describe it,
like mobility, like strength.
Yeah, back pedals or like doing slight like shuttle runs, so like it wouldn't like be.
Yeah, like athletic trainer prescribed rehab exercises.
Yeah, so yeah, I would do those, and the more and more I felt better, the more I tried to like push myself to get back into condition because I missed a lot of like conditioning in the beginning of the season. So like after practices, like a couple practices, I would do like a mile run to just like get back to that somewhat level of conditioning.
So you were working extra.
I guess, but I was missing a lot too at the same time.
Yeah.
So I was just doing my part as a teammate to be ready for to come back to play.
Was that 2 months ago from now? What day is today? Today is April 7th, 2024. So was that like 2 months ago?
Like a month
and a half.
Yeah, a month and a half, I would say, like in the beginning of February.
Are you fully recovered now?
Yeah, so I'm back. I'm fully recovered, back to playing.
Lackstar, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's
you and Johnny Malatesta.
Well, yeah, I'm doing I'm getting better and better every game. I feel like I've been, performing better, playing more aggressively, and being more proactive on defense and causing turnovers. So yeah, I feel like I'm doing my part.
Yeah, and so you just kept kind of doing rehab, and then they got you through it.
Yeah, I just kept doing rehab. Just trying to repair that hamstring and strengthen it, and yeah, it's just going back to lacrosse and just playing the sport.
So, I mean, I feel like we're kind of wrapping up here. It's a very impressive, very cool story, from always hustling, always working hard, the Baptiste way, I guess.
Yeah. Runs in the family.
Yeah? Is your family a lot of athletes?
Or
just hard workers?
Hard workers. My older sister is an athlete in college. She's loving that, and
what sport does she play?
Rugby.
Oh wow! Oh my gosh, that's physical.
Yeah, she just had a crazy tournament too.
Is she like a beast?
Yeah, she's a
beast. That's the Baptiste way.
She's a strength. She's a Herculean. Yeah.
Shout out to Olivia. Do you feel like your family's success and hard work, along with your high expectations and high drive within yourself and for yourself, made it harder for you to admit those injuries to yourself?
Yeah. I feel because sometimes it can be seen as if you're having an injury, it could be used as an excuse of trying to get out of that hard work. And especially being the laziest out of my family, it feels I can't really.
Seem self-aware, maybe too much.
Well, I mean,
as far as I don't live in your house.
Yeah, but
the ball and Baptiste, but you do not seem lazy to me with these injuries and all your sports and grinding.
I guess if you're your own harshest critic, but yeah, but I feel at least being the laziest in my family, it feels you're trying to get the most out of this, out of hard work. So you try to avoid having injuries because that can be seen as an excuse of not doing hard work. Yeah. So
But now, do you feel like you understand you got to listen to your body?
Yeah.
What lessons have you taken out of your injuries, your high school sports career? Any advice to balance academics in school?
Well,
just everything.
Yeah, just like really, I mean, academics, it depends on who you are, but for me, at least, academics comes first. Like, you have to, like, realize that sometimes you cannot always be an athlete, but you can have fun being an athlete. You can't focus, unless you're planning to go D1, unless you believe.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I mean, but that could be risky if you get injured or you don't go D1.
Yeah, so I feel like if you focus on your academics, it's such a more stable, like, plan than being an athlete, and more promising than an athlete. So that's what I focus on, at least. And if it does get times like hard to like focus on being a student and an athlete, just talk to your coaches and realize I might need to take a break or like take a day off to just catch up on my work to make sure you're not struggling as a student or failing as a student.
Do you have any advice to push yourself as an athlete or be more aware of your body?
Yeah, so like you might ignore the signs of like an injury because you're just scared of the reality, but sometimes you have to come face it and realize yep, you're injured, but like at least do your best to recover from it. Like you might feel like it's coming to an end to your athletic career or something like that, but just commit through the rehab process and just find that love for that sport that you played before and go back to it.
Wise words. Do you have any other advice?
I mean, when you're in high school, just have fun when you're playing sports. Yeah, just have fun. Don't make it too serious. Don't realize that there's other things than the sport that you play. So yeah.
Health over wealth.
That's
Wise
true.
words. I want to thank Brian for coming out, talking about his amazing journey for recovery from 2 injuries, becoming more aware of his body, his journey, working hard through it all, being a great student through it all, having good priorities, good family. Very impressive, very interesting. This is episode 7, Athletes Resurgence, from Sidelines to Stardom. Positiers, living life without strife 101. So now let's get some shout outs. Again, our podcast still isn't sponsored. Local businesses, corporations, I'm talking to you, but let's get some shout outs about organizations, activities, things, ideas we care about, we support. Let's get Brian here.
Well, I have to give a shout out to my family, of course. Mom, Dad, Olivia, Claire, those are my inspirations, those are my motivations. So I got to give a shout out to that. But also my coaches for like hearing me out, listening, and giving me opportunities on the field and helping me progress as a student and a person, an individual off the field. So yeah, to those coaches, Coach Shapiro, Coach Clay, Coach McCartney, and many others. So yeah, those would be my shout outs. And all my friends too. I mean, Scotty, who was also on this podcast, and Aiden, and many others to be my just like motivation throughout high school. Yeah.
Thank you.
And also, of course, Nikki C. for inviting me too.
No, thank you for coming. This is a very nuanced and in-depth conversation. I learned a lot, and I appreciate you really opening up and telling us your truth and your journey. So, thank you, Positiers. Keep baking, keep on. Thank you, Brian, for teaching us how to prioritize health over wealth. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.